vaccinated in order to do the project. Hi, my name is Melissa Burnett.
And my name is Donovan Gray.
And we started selling candles to avoid getting evicted. Well, that and many other things, but we're going to start there.
So pretty much everything started with COVID. And at the time, I was a bike messenger. I think that messengers are overlooked in New York City. Now is the time that people are able to see the importance of the messengers that are actually working during this pandemic. So I haven't actually thought about myself as an essential worker. It kind of came about that my job happened to become essential work for what's happening right now. The better that I can do my job, the better it will be for other people. Right now, my days are pandemonium. Riding around the city can be dangerous, but as far as my own safety, it's not something I've actually considered. I more so am worried about other people getting sick, so I'll try and protect them as opposed to protecting myself. I feel right now everybody is connected through this. New York City is that we fight. My name is Donovan Gray, and I'm a bike messenger in New York City. And Melissa was working at either Starbucks or Amazon at the time. I don't remember which one, but I know that she ended up quitting Starbucks and then at one point quitting Amazon. So at this point, I was making a decent amount of money being a bike messenger. But then they started lowering all the rates and there was no more money to be made from that. So we decided we had to find a different way that we could make money. So Melissa had found something called wholesaling. If you don't know what that is, you can go on YouTube. It's pretty much, instead of selling a house, you're selling a contract to sell a house. So it's a lot easier to do than actually buying a house, or so they said it was. When we went on that journey to learn about wholesaling, we had a lot of ups and a lot of downs, which you can find on our other channel, with just buyers canceling on us, spending money we didn't have, and a host of other things. And it didn't end up actually working out for us. When we actually found a house that we could possibly wholesale, we ended up trying to buy it. So my brain is always on, okay, how can we get to 100 million bajillion dollars? That's always my goal, right? So I always want 100x everything. We saw the house that we could possibly wholesale, and I said, okay, what I want to do is let's try and buy it and flip it. It would have been a great deal. Melissa didn't really want to do it because it was a full renovation from top to bottom, and it was our first house ever. And my goal originally was to buy a rental property, like everybody says, and have the passive income where I could just have a rental, a tenant, the dream of everybody that's, you see on YouTube and living the regular 9-to-5 life. I'm like, okay, that's what I want to do. I want to have a rental property and then go and build on that. We ended up finessing a whole bunch of ways to finally get the house. So we bought this house. It cost $116,000, and we figured we could sell it for close to $300,000. Because we were new to this, we had a huge learning curve. And one of the things we learned is that we didn't have enough money to renovate a house. So we had to find a way to try and make more money. The first thing we thought about was Airbnb. So we said, okay, Airbnb is really good, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month, and then try to multiply that. We could have enough money to finish renovating the house. We went to Philly and we went to Atlanta to try and find a house that allowed us to do Airbnb. We had some decent results in Atlanta, but at the time, again, we didn't have money and we didn't have business credit to be able to finalize getting that deal. So later on, we ended up finding a person that said, hey, I have 3 apartments in Philadelphia. They'll give us the whole house. So we were super excited for that and said, okay, hey, we go to Philly, we have all the furniture, we bought everything, the contract is already signed, we're good to go. We get out there to Philly, and with all the furniture on its way throughout the whole week, this next day after we get there, the landlord calls the agent and,
hey Donovan, how you doing?
I'm good.
Thanks for returning the call.
No worries. What's going on?
Yeah, no problem. So this just came across here on my desk. The lease that you were into?
Yeah.
Okay, so in talking to, he informed me that in a few more months, Airbnbs aren't going to be legal in the city anymore. and he doesn't want to take a chance on entering into something like this, which is going to be a mess. That's what he said to me. You know what I mean? So he said before anything even takes place, he wanted me to let you know that.
Tells him to tell us that he no longer wants us to do Airbnb at the property. So now we're in Philly, we live in New York, and we're sitting out there just thinking to ourselves, this is insane. We're all the way out here, furniture is coming, we spent thousands of dollars on this furniture. What are we gonna do? So we had to just let it go and just re-up again. So while we were there, we were thinking, what's the next thing we could possibly do to make some money to be able to finish renovating this house? Next thing on the list was Turo. So we just got our first car for Turo. We haven't listed it yet. We should be listing it either this week or next week.
2 weeks later.
Oh my fucking God! $826. The car was listed like an hour ago. We got a listing for 15 days that covers the whole trip. It's for tomorrow.
So we said, okay, Turo, if we could get a couple of cars, make some extra money per month, we can cover this mortgage payment, and then we could cover the renovation money that we needed and whatever bills we had, because at this time we're no longer working. So Turo was going okay. We were getting bookings, and I realized that Turo and the way that we had it was not very profitable because we had to drive the car to a different state, because at that time it was illegal to have a Turo car or run Turo in New York City. So we had to drive across the border to New Jersey to actually be able to use the car. So that cost us money going and coming. It cost us gas. The insurance was like $300 a month because I'm 28. Melissa is 25 now. At the time, we were both probably a year or two younger. So insurance was pretty high. We don't have any money really coming in. We have no income. So we had to finesse getting the car from Carvana. We get the car from Carvana, and we have to pay $547 per month. So the $547 plus the $330 is now $800 we're paying every single month for the car. Our first trip on Turo, the person crashes the car. So now we start doing the numbers and realizing like, hey, this Turo thing is not making us that much money per month. Yeah, we're getting bookings, but we're spending money to go for every trip. So the car at this point is not making us the money that we need to make. So during this time, Melissa is like, hey, I have an idea. I'm like, okay, what's your idea? She said, we could sell candles. I'm like, candles? I'm like, listen, nobody buys candles. Nobody buys candles. That's not a thing. Like, yeah, some people, like, I know some people have them, but like a business selling candles, like that's out. Like, I'm like, listen, you know what? How about this? At this point, I'm kind of go back into wholesaling, trying to try my luck again with that. So I said, look, I said, baby girl, you do the candle thing, because I'm focused on this wholesale real estate thing right now, and I don't really know about candles and the things that it will require for me to now switch gears and put all of my energy into that. I'm not at that point right now. So you have to figure it out, and then you bring it to me. If you have any questions along the way, I'll help you with that. But you have to bring this thing from 0 to 1. And then after that, I can help you. So from that point, I pretty much only have my perspective on it. It was a very different perspective than what Melissa has. And she could tell you better than me what her perspective was at that time and what she was feeling.
I always liked watching like small business videos on YouTube, and I thought it was interesting, like, you know, the different font choices and the different colors and how people decided what products to make and stuff like that. So I always gravitated to that. And when I was younger, also like Donovan, like we both kind of ran little businesses when we were young, like when we were kids. I got an ad on Instagram, and the ad was for a brand called Petra. I don't know if I'm saying that right. They would make your product for you, and you would just put the label on it, or you would design the packaging, and then you could sell it as your own. So at first I'm like, oh, okay, I can buy one of their candles, and I can, you know, make the label, make it look nice and everything like that, and sell that. So I had looked into it, and, you know, it was going to take a certain amount of time for them to respond. And I was looking at what they were making it with. And I kind of had some information on candles before I even thought about making it. So when I was younger, when I was in college, I did drugs. I smoked weed. So when I would smoke, I used to buy a lot of candles. I used to go to TJ Maxx. I used to go to Marshall's. They were like near my job. I used to go to Target, pick me up a couple candles, and I would burn that in the nighttime to help clear the room because I was smoking at home and I did not want my mom and grandma to find out. So from back then, I had learned about a wooden wick, and I had burnt a candle with a wooden wick, and I heard the crackle and everything. I'm like, oh, I like that. It felt fancy. And I started learning about waxes and stuff like that from back then. But whenever I would look for a beeswax candle, it didn't fit the aesthetic that I wanted. Like, it didn't look like something I wanted to burn, so I just kept burning the other stuff that I was buying at TJ Maxx or Marshall's. So fast forward to this time period, I have my background knowledge from when I was younger, when I was smoking and stuff, and then now I have this idea where it's like, oh, we could sell a product. We could sell a candle. So then I started watching more candle videos, and I tried to figure out, okay, how much does it cost to make? And because, Donovan said that I had to bring it from 0 to 1. So I'm like, all right, so I got to figure this out. So I was thinking about different scents, and I'm thinking about this and that. The initial amount that we invested into the candles, I think, was like $1,000. Is that something? Like $2,000. So that was like buying the wax off of Amazon. That was buying vessels off Amazon. I had bought dried flowers. I bought dyes and all that type of stuff. So around that time period, I just wanted to figure out something that I could do that can bring us money that wasn't a job, because back then I also tried to do PA work to bring in extra money, and that was very strenuous on me. It was 12-hour days. That was a lot of money, but it took up a lot of time, and I felt really tired. I'm like, okay, I'm going to try and find a product, because I really wanted to help. I felt like Donovan was better at me in terms of wholesaling, because he is like really good at talking to people, and I get flustered and anxious, so I don't think I have the same fluidity in conversations, or I think I can have the conversation, but I don't know how to guide the conversation. So I just thought he's always better at that. So I would love for him to focus on that, and I can focus on the candles and see what can come from it.
What was it like when you first started making candles? Where did you look at? What type of things were you trying to find? How did you choose scents? What were you looking for to make?
Yeah, when I first started making candles, I kind of just looked at what I saw other people, doing. So like, I knew I had to get a thermometer. I knew I had to get, I just wanted to try something out. I just wanted to try and at least make a candle and see how it comes out. I made my first candle. I think it was orange, and I had put like little flowers and everything. We'll put the video right here. And we burned it. Like, I had the wooden wick and everything like that. I just wanted it to be cute. I don't think I got anything specific. I kind of just got it was like a range of colors that I got, and it was a range of flowers that I got. I wanted to experiment, and that's kind of how I was looking at it. And yeah, I had started off with beeswax off of Amazon. So with that first candle and having the dried flowers on top,
what if the candle was that hot?
The whole thing lit on fire. The whole top of it was ablaze. And that, I wouldn't say it was discouraging. It was just kind of like, because of the information, like you were supposed to wait 3 days before you burn your candle and stuff like that. So I'm like, damn, I already made 3 candles. Like, I was okay. I think I would have liked to have made 1 candle that first time to see how it came out, because I made 3 candles with the dried flowers on top. So it was like, okay, I'm trying to burn all of them, and now they're all in flames. So I would have done that differently. But I think that it was a fun process, and I think that I liked it more the more I continued doing it. How did I choose the scents? I had bought samples. I had bought scent samples that sounded like appealing to me, and I smelt them, and I just, it was just whatever wasn't offensive, whatever I really, really liked. Because there's some scents that will offend you. I'm like, oh my goodness, that smells crazy. But there was this one scent in particular. As soon as I smelled it, I'm like, oh my gosh, it smells so good. And I could not stop smelling it. I've never smelled anything like it before. And I'm like, wow. And that was the first scent that I fell in love with. And I'm like, yeah, I need this one. Only thing was, that scent was really expensive. So I kind of set up the candles in a way where it's like I have 2 scents that are more expensive and I have 2 scents that are more economical, and it balances out the price point for the candles. So I think that's something that I really like that I did, because I love all the scents. It's just like I said, one is like really expensive and one is not. Another thing too, when I first started making candles, I definitely started putting dye in them at first. I had like a yellow one, an orange one, and a blue one. But I realized that for me to get like the rich, vibrant colors that I wanted, I would have to put a lot of dye. And if you put too much dye, it might clog the wick and stop the candle from burning proficiently. And then I kind of later on learned that the dye that I was using was probably not the best dye, like, to be burning. So I just kind of stayed away from dyes in general, because if I didn't know enough about it for me to guarantee that I'm putting out a safe product if I were to put that in there. That makes sense.
Why'd you go with beeswax as opposed to soy?
I went with beeswax because when I would look it up, it would say that like beeswax is like the healthiest wax. It doesn't have any preservatives. And I think the coolest thing about, I went with beeswax because it was really cool to me, the fact that it purifies the air. So I always wanted to have a beeswax candle when I was smoking weed, because the air needed to be purified. But I never got one because they were all either unscented or like just looked kind of funny looking to me. So I just kind of knew that, I don't know, I just wanted to be different. I just wanted to go with beeswax. And then also, I guess the other thing too, I saw all the problems that soy wax had, and I'm just kind of like, I don't really think I want to deal with that. Like, in terms of even making soy wax. Like, sometimes it looks like real clouded on top, and it could be really soft, and it might get curdled, and I'm like, that sounds like a lot. Oh, and you have to wait 2 weeks for it to cure. You're supposed to wait 2 weeks for the candle to cure with soy wax before you burn it, because it needs that extra time to harden. Beeswax was like 3 days. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do beeswax.
When you started making candles, where did you research on how to make the candles?
Most of my research I did on YouTube, and then I also used Facebook groups. Like, Facebook groups was very, very helpful, because I like the fact that I can type in like a Google search, but of all the posts within the Facebook group. And so whenever I had a specific question, I could literally search it as opposed to typing it out and waiting for someone else to answer me. So I really like that, because people already asked the questions that I asked before. Like, just being new, all the questions are kind of similar. So it made the process really easy. I think the other cool thing about Facebook groups too was that things would come up on my feed that I wasn't looking for. So there's someone that like was talking about how their candles be breaking in the mail. I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna avoid that. And then people in the comments was like, oh, it's because your glass is thin. You need a thicker glass. And it's like, oh, in my head, I'm like, okay, I need thick glass. So just stuff like that, it just kind of allowed me to keep taking in candle information even when I'm not searching for it. So I really, really enjoyed Facebook groups a lot.
So now this is where I kind of come back into the story. So we did our first craft fair in January of 2022. From August 2021 to about December 2021, that is when Melissa was learning about candles, learning what to put in it, how to make it, what she liked the most, what scent she liked, and all the different things you should avoid when having candles. She was selling it online back then, and we were having some family and friends buy it, but it wasn't enough traction for us to actually make money off of it or to grow it into a business at the time. So we're like, okay, what's the next idea? So Melissa says, okay, let's try doing a craft fair. I'm like, okay, let's see what it's like. So now Melissa has been applying for a bunch of craft fairs to figure out which ones she should do, which ones are good, which ones are bad. And she ended up settling on one here in New York City. They actually have a location in Atlanta and in California, and it's called Artists and Fleas. At the time, you had to be vaccinated to actually go to the craft fair. And at the time, we were not
vaccinated in order to do the craft fair. And if you guys are not familiar, I am not vaccinated, and I do not plan on getting the vaccine just to do the craft fair. So I'm really bummed out because I bought my ticket. I paid for everything before New York came up with this rule. And now, you know, either I'm going to lose my $300 or I'm going to lose out on the opportunity to, like, this craft fair was supposed to be like a start of something for me. And I don't even know if I'll be able to do it. So right now, I'm just going to take a COVID test the day before. I know it's going to be negative, so I'll just take the test. I'll take a free test and then, you know, hopefully show up there with the test, and hopefully they'll let me do it because I already paid for it, and it was before they came up with these rules. So like it just sucks because this was supposed to be another situation where this could be a way out, or I can't even see how this would go. I feel like every time we prepare for something and it's like it's literally like this weekend, it's like days away. And it reminds me of the Airbnb where it's like, okay, we're in Philly, we bought the stuff, we're about to set up, and now we can't even do it. Like, yeah, I really want to cry. Like, it's so there's always solutions for these things, but you know, it just really sucks while it's happening. It's not the end of the world, but it really does suck.
So we had to have family to actually do it for us. So my mom did it. Shout out to my mom. And her brother was able to do it. So they held it down for us, and we weren't able to sell any of the candles. And I believe their first weekend they did $900. What did they do their first weekend?
I feel like their first weekend they did like five.
So my mom and her brother, their first day selling candles without us being there, and they did $900 in 2 days. So now that I saw this, I'm like, wait a minute. I was like, ding, right? I'm like, I got like light bulb now. I'm like, wait, hold on. Without any type of sales background training, my mom kind of has a little bit, you know, without any like real knowing about the candles that much, they were able to make $900 by themselves. And I'm like, wait, this is crazy. I said, people buy candles? I'm like, okay, hold on. Maybe it was a fluke. It could have been an accident. Let's see if this is a real thing or not. So the following, I don't know what's the date on this one. So February, that was January 8th and 9th. Then February 20th is when we did our next fair. So we did one fair in January, and then the next fair was in February. And the fair at the time was $280 for the weekend, so it's about $140 per day. And this other fair is called Grand Bazaar, which is in Manhattan. That fair was about $80 for the day. So that fair was about $80 for the day. So okay, I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, let's lock in. If we were able to, if my mom and her brother did $900, this fair is only one day on a Sunday. Let's see what we can do. So we're out there, and first day it's like really cold. We had bought hand warmers for when I was a bike messenger. We were trying to find a heater to bring. We were trying to find everything we could find to be warm out there. The first maybe hour or two, we're kind of just like, all right, we got to figure out something because we're not getting the amount of sales that we should get. So I'm thinking, okay, let's try and talk to people. Let's just say, hey, do you want to come by? Hey, what's going on? How you guys doing? We're selling candles. I'm trying to talk to get some type of traction and see why people want to buy a candle, if they want to actually buy a candle. By the end of the day, we were just shocked by how much money we made, because in my life, I have never made this much money in one day ever. In my entire life that I've been alive, I've never made this much money in one day. So on that Sunday of our first time doing a craft fair at Grand Bazaar, we made $828, okay? And I'm like, we just made $828 in a day selling candles. And people were like, hey, these candles are really great. I just think the price, like, this is how I knew it was even crazier. People would say that the price was too low, and they were shocked by the price for the candle. And I'm like, and mind you, when we first started selling candles, I'm like, Melissa, people are not spending more than $25, more than $20 on a candle. I'm like, they're going to go to Bed Bath & Beyond. They're going to get the $5 sale for 65 candles at once, and they're gonna burn it in their house. And I'm like, no people are buying. Nobody cares about their health like that. That's not what's happening. So we go outside, and they're like, wait, this is beeswax. There's no dye. There's no paraffin. There's none of that. There, it's a wooden wick. The glass is not. Oh my goodness! And it lasts how long? It lasts 80 hours. I want one. And I'm like, okay. Like, how much it costs? I'm like, $30. They're like, $30? It costs $30 and it burns 80 hours? I'm like, yes. They're like, wow, that's a great deal. I'm like, sure. So when we leave, I'm like, okay, the price is obviously too low because everybody is telling us it's too low. I was in shock at the time. So that was our second fair. That was February 20th. So now the problem is that all the money that we're making from the craft fair, we have to put into the house. So now we kind of have something that's making some money to supplement the house. So like, okay, we have a little bit of something here. YouTube is doing well on our other channel, the Bamboo Project. And we're like, okay, we have some money from that. We have some money from this. We have an okay place. But we couldn't use that money to go back into the craft fair. So if we had any extra money left over from the YouTube check, then we could put that into the candles. So March is when we did 1, 2, 3, almost 4 fairs we did in March. Okay, so in March of last year we made $3,325 in March. Like, extra money to be able to keep doing this would be great. So now that I see that, I'm thinking to myself, we have to figure out a way to make more money doing this. The funny thing about this part of the story is that we almost didn't even do the craft fairs because there was a time in the car that Melissa and I don't know where we were driving to, and there was a back and forth between her and the person that was booking the craft fair, or the person that was in charge of the craft fair. Melissa was saying, okay, she's going to do the fair. Something came up and they were like, okay, she's not going to do that. She said she wasn't going to do the fair. Then something came up again, like a new message, and they said, okay, we're going to do the fair this time. So I'm like, listen, babe, whatever you want to do, just pick one and I'm going to support that. If you want to do it, then we'll do it. If you don't want to do it, then we're not going to do it. But it's up to you. Which one do you want to do? So she said, okay, I'm going to do it. Because me personally, I don't like the going back and forth thing. I'm like, if you choose that you want to do it, then we're going to figure out a way to finesse it. We're going to make it work. If you choose you don't want to do it, then we'll find another route and figure something else out. But I don't like going back and forth. And when she decided that that's what she wanted to do, I'm like, okay, we're all in on this. We're going to the craft fair. We're going to figure out how we can get it done, who can go, how long they got to be there, who we got to ask, everything. Last year, if you have watched our first video, out of maybe doing 40 days or so, we made $30,000. So once that happened, we started thinking to ourselves, okay, let's try and focus more on that. And all of last year, like I said, we were going through so much between trying to flip a house, trying to do Turo, trying to do Airbnb, trying to wholesale, trying to work a regular job, just trying to do YouTube, because we have another channel that we were doing. It was just trying to figure out how to make money all of last year. The end of the year comes, right? The house is about to be foreclosed on because we couldn't afford the payments anymore. The market actually dropped as soon as we put the house on the market. I'll put some pictures up here of the house. As soon as we did that, the next week, interest rates rose and all the houses were too expensive for anybody to buy. So now our house is sitting on the market for 4 or 5 months with no offers. Then on Christmas Eve, the day before Christmas Eve, our car gets repossessed. That one house for Turo gets taken. So now we don't have the house and we don't have the car. And now the only thing we have left is the candles. So we decided for all of this year, if we could make $30,000 in 40 days last year, doing it on and off without actually pushing the Instagram, without actually pushing the website, or doing the fairs as often as we can, and the connection that we were trying to build last year that we can build now, we're going to put everything that we have into doing the candles for the foreseeable future. It was a lot harder last year to try and focus on the candles because we had so much on our plate.
I also think we didn't have the extra capital too. Because like you said, because the house is about to be foreclosed on and the car got repossessed, those are expenses that we don't have to pay anymore. So all that money can easily go back into the candles, whereas last year it's like, okay, we made $800, but now we have to put $600 into paying the car note, or put it towards the mortgage for the house.
Can you see how much we made from August to December? So like I told you guys, we made $30,000 last year, right? This is my first time seeing this number. So from August to December of last year, we made $21,000. That's just on at the fairs. So for the first 6 months of the year, we only made $4,000. One of the great things to me about the candles is that I love business, right? And Melissa loves to create things. She sings, she loves to cook. She just, anything that painting, she just loves to make music. She's a creative person. Where she was able to put that creativity into a product, and then I'm able to add my creativity on business into that one thing. Now we have something that's really good. And I think that is why this year we're going to try and put those things together and 100x them for the rest of the year.
Bro, I'm still shocked at this number. From August to December, doing $21,000 is insane.
Can you do September to the end of the year? So leave out August. It's $17,000. So September, October, November, 4 months.
Just in October and November were the only 2 months that we were able to do a craft fair like every single weekend. And it was funny enough, the last weekend in November was, I think, the marathon. But just in those 2 months alone, we made $12,159.
Right. So it's really hard to see those numbers and go, let me do something else. I don't want to focus on this. And this is, again, no marketing, no, like, very minimal effort in terms of what we can actually do to make the candles better. So now, after seeing that for last year, we came up with a goal for this year. Our goal for this year is to sell 30,000 candles and make $500,000 this year. So 2023 will be the road to 500K, because we think that if we are only focusing on this one thing, then we will be able to accomplish that goal. We were able to make a great product that other people also seem to love. So subscribe to the channel. You can follow us on Instagram, Mburcandleco. Everything, Instagram, Twitter, everything else. And with that being said, road to 500K. We'll see you in the next video.
For Arkiva, we fundraising. At least $25. Link in the description.